Welcome, everybody, to the 2015 United States Bicycling Hall of Fame. We appreciate everybody being here tonight because each and every one of you being here helps support the cause and the programs that we're doing at the Bike Hall of Fame. This is our 8th year in Davis. Some of you have been here since the early days over in Freeborn Hall, and in 2008 was our first induction. So it's the 8th time in Davis and the 29th ever induction for the United States Bicycling Hall of Fame. So we have a couple Hall of Famers in the house tonight. We'll have 4 new ones by the end of the evening. And we have George Mountain Wayne Stetna already in the house, stand-up gentlemen. So we know we have some previous Hall of Famers in the house today. Thank you. And George every year graciously leads a ride from Davis out to Winters and back. So we didn't lose anybody today, George? I put the hammer down, okay. Okay, so most of you have found the auction tables already. One of the ways that we kind of break even tonight is our auction. So proceeds from that, as well as sales of the book. Andrew Homan's here tonight. He has the book, the biography of Bobby Wildpower. He'll be up in a little bit to talk about what he's up to. But all the proceeds tonight help with our programs, the Bike Hall of Fame. And whether we're opening the museum, the history of bicycling, the sport, educational outreach, the tire side chats, all of the activities, and actually really advocating for bicycling. And you'll hear a little bit about why it is in Davis and why it's part of our DNA. And to that point, one of the things in Davis, because we had the first bike lane in America in 1967, and about 1 out of every 5 trips in Davis involves a bicycle. So you really have to be a supporter of bicycling to get elected in Davis. And one of our folks who grew up riding his bike in Davis is now the mayor of Davis. So I'd like to introduce to you the Honorable Dan Wolk, Mayor of Davis.
Thank you, Bob. I like to say that I have had the most bicycles stolen of any member of the City Council ever, having grown up here. But good evening and welcome. Tonight the Davis community is honored to once again host the U.S. Bicycling Hall of Fame induction ceremony. This is the 8th time, actually, that this induction ceremony has been held in Davis, and to recognize the several amazing individuals that are in this room. You'd expect the mayor of the city of Davis, which is the bicycling capital of the world, to be the top cyclist in the community, but I think there's a couple people in this room who probably beat me at that. I'm pretty sure I'm not even the top cyclist in my own family. My wife, Yamima Wolk, is here, who is a former member of the UC Davis cycling team, former professional triathlete, so welcome to Yamima. I would like to just note that we got actually engaged at the top of Mount Canelo, if you can say, you can call it a mountain, hill, Canelo Hill. It was a mountain to me at the time. It was a 109-degree day, and I was a little tired. And I think it was wonderful. Anyway, there are a lot of folks that I definitely want to note and thank tonight. First, please give a round of applause to Bob Bowen, the president of the U.S. Bicycling Hall of Fame. Of course, the city, UC Davis, the Davis bicycling community, the members who are here, the community at large, and our business leaders, and it's just wonderful to have that support. Each of you plays a key role in celebrating and encouraging bicycling. And that really makes up the heart and soul of our community. I mean, after all, we are the only U.S. city, Bob confirmed this, that uses a bicycle in its logo. We feature over 100 miles of combined bicycle lanes and dedicated bike paths. And that number doesn't even include what's on the UC Davis campus. The 2010 U.S. Census Bureau count revealed that Davis had the highest percentage of bicycle commuters in the United States. An estimated 20% of the population, I think it's even higher now, of Davis commutes to work using a bicycle. And the next closest is a little town in Colorado that some of you may have heard of called Boulder, but they're at a measly 9.9%. So we're very proud of here. And as Bob mentioned, we had the first bicycle lane in 1997. We also built something I'm personally proud of just recently, what's the first Dutch junction in the United States, which is in front of our new cannery project, which is, for those of you who don't know, is a much safer intersection. We were very proud of that. So yes, as an avid cyclist myself, it's just wonderful what we've been able to do, and we're actually looking forward in 2017 to celebrate not only the 50th anniversary of the first bicycle lane in Davis, but also the 100th anniversary of the city's incorporation itself. So anyway, thank you very much for coming here. The U.S. Bicycling Hall of Fame is an absolute treasure in our community. We appreciate you being here. For those out-of-towners, make sure you take some time, maybe spend some of your dollars down in our downtown, enjoy yourselves. But again, thank you very much. Thank you to Bob. Thank you to the Hall of Fame. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you. And congratulations to the inductees. Thank you.
Okay, each of you at your table got a program. On the back page of the program, there are a lot of event sponsors. Now, because Davis is so supportive, we have a lot of businesses and agencies that support this event tonight, including the City of Davis and UC Davis and all these other private businesses. Not a lot of national firms here, unfortunately, because of what's happening in the bicycle industry over the last several years. Some national firms are not interested in being associated with bicycling, and one of the challenges that we all have in this room is to make sure that we uphold the ethics of bicycling and to make sure that this is something that everybody in the United States wants to be affiliated with. But I also want you to notice is that on the back page it said online auction items biddingforgood.com. So through the end of November until December 1st, we have some great auction items that are online, and so people can find that. And they're already bidding on them right now, including a VIP tour package in the Amgen Tour of California, Levi Leifheimer's Grand Fondo, which is really hard to get into, and other, going to Hawaii and entry into other gourmet and cycling experiences. So if you're interested, check it out online, and that's going to be going until December 1st. But we really, really appreciate all the folks in the town, because the Hall of Fame is a national organization, but we really start on the backs of the volunteers and the businesses in Davis. And so we're so appreciative of people stepping up and contributing, whether it's hotel rooms for our inductees or flowers for tonight, or even the university making this a wonderful venue available, as well as the City of Davis making our museum in downtown Davis available for the grand total of $1 a year, which is pretty cool, considering it's a 3-story facility, but we don't take that for granted, and we want to leverage that and do as much as we can to be self-supportive. So everything that you can do to help us make sure that the Hall of Fame, and also the people who are inducted and who have been inducted since 1985 and 1987, will forevermore be part of the history of this country's athletic endeavors. And the history of cycling is great, and some of you out there today are making your own history, and we're so pleased to have some of the folks who are here, some members of the UCD cycling team. Raise your hand. We have some people in the town. There they go right there. UC Davis cycling team. We have another junior team that's based in the Santa Rosa area. Team Swift, raise your hands right here. Yeah. Sponsored in part by Shimano and Wayne with Stetna, so we really appreciate that. Also at your places, there's a little brochure as to why the Hall of Fame matters. There's a little thumbnail history about what the Hall of Fame is and some of the history of cycling. And so, not light reading, but just take a look at that when you go home and see what you can do. And there's information about membership and sponsorship in there. So anything you can do to spread the word of the Hall of Fame, because we think it's a great story, and it's a continuing story, and it's an important story. And you'll hear some of the stories of our inductees tonight. And we want to make sure that forevermore the Hall of Fame is in Davis, and that we can tell these stories. Especially, how cool is it? We have kids, like 5th grade kids, coming over from Patwin Elementary School, biking on a field trip with their parents for an outing. Now, the fact is, every school in Davis is close enough so they can bike to this event, and so it's sustainable, and that's right in their own backyard. And we want to expand that and maybe have other educational outreach opportunities. So we really, want to keep spreading the word, and we appreciate all of our sponsors and all of you being part of what this is. So we're going to start tonight. Of our 4 inductees, our first inductee is deceased, but we still have one of the induction videos. And a lot of you have heard of Ken Burns and documentary videos and stuff, but we have somebody who's even better than Ken Burns, and it's Jeff Shaw over here in the Davis Media Access. And they put together these fantastic videos that you'll see tonight. And we would like to first start off tonight with the first Hall of Fame inductee is Al Crossley Jr. So enjoy the introductory video. House lights down.
Albert Crossley was born on July 6, 1903 in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Al was a skilled bike racer and was soon winning amateur bike races at the outdoor tracks in New England and New York. In 1929, he started six-day racing at the age of 21 and completed 12 years as a rugged professional six-day racer until 1940. In the early 1930s, Al was the New England Sprint champion while riding on tracks of his home base of Boston, Massachusetts, and Providence, Rhode Island. During his career, he started 89 six-day races, completing 78 of them. Crossley's most successful racing year was in 1935, when at the age of 28, he competed in 11 six-day races and won 4 of them. Of his 10 overall six-day wins, 7 of them came when he was teamed with 2008 U.S. Bicycling Hall of Fame inductee Jimmy Walthour, who was his partner for 36 six-day races. Other Hall of Fame racing partners included Charlie Winter, Bobby Walthour Jr., Norman Hill, William Cecil Yates, and Freddie Spencer. Crossley competed in six-day races on tracks from coast to coast, as well as in Europe. His favorite racing cities were Montreal with 13 races, followed by New York, Chicago, Toronto, Buffalo, Milwaukee, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. Crossley's career results included 10 victories, 15 second places, 17 thirds, and 16 times finishing fourth. The only American racer ranked ahead of Crossley on the all-time six-day race results list is Jimmy Walthour. Al Crossley, one of the greatest American six-day racers ever.
And we're lucky to have historian in the room tonight, Andrew Homan, and he's going to talk a little bit about how crazy these guys were doing 6 straight days. And so, Andrew, come on up. Please welcome Andrew Homan and talk about six-day racing.
Hello. Good-looking group tonight. Well, I got, when I was a kid growing up in the Bay Area, we used to collect baseball cards in the neighborhood. I remember having Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, and Nolan Ryan. And today these cards would probably be worth thousands of dollars, but I think my brother might have stolen them. But with these baseball cards, I learned a lot about the history of baseball. And baseball has always had a great history. I think everybody in this room knows who Babe Ruth is. They know who, who Joe DiMaggio is, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Ty Cobb. But cycling also has a great history that goes as far back as baseball, all the way back to the late 1800s. But most people in this room, have they ever heard of from these people in the early days? Names like Frank Kramer, Major Taylor, Bobby Walthour, Alf Goulet, and Reggie McNamara. Anybody heard of these folks? Some of these, but this is a cycling crowd. But these names and many others, along with Albert Crossley today, have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, but sadly, none of these names are household names. Albert Crossley was well known as a six-day racer in the 1920s and 1930s. In those days, six-day racing was quite a spectacle, and it was exactly as the name implies, 6 straight days of racing without interruption, no timeouts, unless there was a serious injury. And the typical field was 17 teams, two-man teams. And one teammate raced around the track as the other would grab some food or get a cat nap or tend to their wounds. But the resting rider always had to be ready at a moment's notice. Most would sleep with their cycling shoes on. Many city-hosted six-day races such as Chicago, Boston, Philadelphia, Detroit, Montreal, Los Angeles, and right here in San Francisco. Well, we're in Davis, but it was San Francisco's closest, obviously. But the greatest of all 6 days races was in Madison Square Garden. And New Yorkers every December look forward to it like it was Christmas. A week prior to the event, a team of carpenters put up a highly banked 1/10 of a mile track with a yellow pine board surface. In December 1927, with the popularity of professional cycling at its all-time peak, more than 150,000 tickets were sold at the garden, which was filled to capacity every night with more than 25,000 fanatics. And thousands of people were turned away at the gate. And that's how popular it was back then. Most of the day, the riders plodded along at a relatively slow pace of 17, 18, 19 miles per hour, strung out in a colorful line of uniforms on fixed-geared track bikes. To steal a single lap meant everything to these riders, because one lap could mean the difference between winning and losing the entire six-day race. Under the glow of the bright lights, when all was calm and serene, the crowd knew a jam was coming. A jam is the chase after a rider who is attempting to lap the field. Then it happened. A rider from the back of the pack went up the embankment, shot down and flashed away, gaining a quarter of a lap, and the pursuit began. The pack thundered after the escapee, and the crowd got to its feet and came to life in a rollicking celebration of noise. Hats and programs were thrown in the air, and that's what they were waiting for. By World War II, six-day racing in the United States came to an abrupt end. And since then, the sport has been all but extinct here in the USA. But it's my sincere hope that if enough people knew more about what a great sport it was, six-day racing will make a comeback here in the United States. Thank you.
So Andrew's book in the back is called Life in the Slipstream, the biography of Bobby Walthour. And he's coming out with a new book next year called Iron Mac, The Legend of the Roughhouse Cyclist Reggie McNamara. That's coming out in 2016. So the history of cycling is still with us, and six-day racing was pretty deranged. I mean, these guys were making money, and there was bootleg liquor, and there was entertainment, and especially during the Depression, there was some place where people could go, where it was warm, and there was food and entertainment. So these guys were the most popular and the most highly paid professional athletes in the United States, bike racers. We actually have a small part of the Madison Square Garden wooden track in the Bike Hall of Fame Museum, so if you get a chance, take a look at it. So members of the Crossley family couldn't be with us tonight, so we'll accept his award and get it to his grandson who lives on the East Coast. So that Al Crossley Jr., but we're going to move on to our next inductee, and so we have another wonderful video, and so please welcome the introductory video for our second inductee tonight, Alison Dunlap.
From a kid on a banana seat bicycle with training wheels to the 2001 World Mountain Bike Championships, Alison Dunlap has never ignored her dad's advice when he told her, "Don't stop pedaling." During her freshman year at Colorado College in Colorado Springs, Alison was the last women's soccer team player to be cut from the team. Alison soon discovered cycling at the college and became the only female member of the cycling club. By her senior year, she became the women's national collegiate champion in road racing. 5 years later, Alison competed at the 1996 Atlanta Olympic Games in the women's road race, where she finished 37th. She then began dating professional mountain biker Greg Greg Crossley, who is now her husband, and she began to realize her potential as a mountain biker. A sponsorship with GT Bicycles helped launch her entry into mountain bike racing.
Of course, the rider on the front there, Alison Dunlap, the new road rider who's changed over to mountain biking on the GT team.
In 1997, in only her fourth World Cup competition, she surprised the competition by winning the race in Budapest, Hungary. Then, in 1999, Alison won her second World Cup, a gold medal at the Pan Am Games, and became the U.S. national champion in mountain biking.
Dunlap turned 35 days ago, and she takes the American flag across the finish line for 2 hours and 9 minutes.
I knew that if I wanted to win today, I had to be the aggressor, and so I attacked her halfway through the second lap and dropped her, and then just powered onto the finish.
By the end of the 1999 season, she was the #1 ranked U.S. rider. Alison went on to win 12 more national titles in mountain biking, a World Cup overall, and a World Cross Country Mountain Bike Championship. She also was the 6-time national champion in cyclocross, represented the U.S. in her second Olympics in Sydney, Australia. After a 4-year retirement, Alison came back in 2009 and raced cyclocross for the Luna team.
I can see why people come back, because you really, like I have a passion for this sport, I just love it.
After getting 4th at the national championships, she retired from racing in 2010 after the birth of her son, Emmett. She started Alison Dunlap Adventure Camps in 2003 and has been coaching cyclists full-time since 2005. Alison also runs mountain bike skills camps in Moab, Utah, the same place where her dad first took her backpacking in 1974. Alison currently lives in Colorado Springs with her family, and she has never stopped pedaling.
Please welcome to the stage Alison Dunlap. Come on down.
Did I really do all that? Holy cow. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. To the U.S. Bicycling Hall of Fame and the selection committee, it's just fantastic to be here in the city of Davis. Holy cow, I have never seen a city so enthusiastic about cycling. Not since I left Europe, racing in Europe. So that's phenomenal, and we have had the best time, and we found the best Thai restaurant. And we went there last night, and we went there tonight. And I want to thank my husband. You saw some of him in the video, and he's been there for, 21 years or so, helping me and being my biggest supporter. So to be a world-class cyclist takes an unbelievable amount of dedication and discipline, as you all know, and you've all heard this before. But I think to be the best, what does it take to be the best? There is a level of commitment, I think, that goes beyond what is logical, almost into the absurd. For example, every January, my husband and I organize a 3-day hut trip in Colorado, which means that you ski into a hut in the middle of nowhere with a fully loaded backpack, and then you ski backcountry for 3 days. Well, January was always the middle of my cyclocross season. So for me to miss 3 days of training, well, that wasn't really an option, and I didn't have the courage to lie to my coach and tell him that I did all this training, and of course he didn't want me to go on the hut trip. So my compromise was that I brought my bike, I brought my trainer. We went up the night before, stayed with some friends in Breckenridge, Colorado, which happened to be at 10,500 feet. So I got up at 5 a.m. the morning of our hut trip, and I had some crazy VO2 interval workout to do. And if you're not familiar with cycling terminology, VO2 intervals are basically you ride for 3 minutes as hard as you possibly can until your arms fall off. And I was supposed to do these the day of our hut trip. So I got up, and we had 3 friends sleeping on the floor in the living room, so I couldn't turn the lights on. So I sat on my trainer, pitch black, with my headlight on, because I had to be able to see my heart rate monitor, of course. And I did my intervals at 10,500 feet. It was all so that I could go on this hut trip guilt-free. We also took trips to Michigan in December every year to visit my husband's family. And December was another big block of training for myself, and missing 7 days of cycling, of course, again, wasn't an option. So I lugged my trainer out to Grand Rapids. I brought my bike, and I set up in the basement. And I had a stretch of 4-hour rides. And if you've ever done 4 hours on the trainer, it's brutal. So I sat downstairs in their basement, and they had television, thank goodness, but they didn't have cable. So I had to watch the local channels. So at one point, my husband comes down the stairs, and he looks at me, and he's like, "Why are you crying?" And I'm on the trainer, right? And I'm like, "Because Mary got hurt, and Pa can't find her." And I literally had tears streaming down my face, and there's Little House on the Prairie on the TV. And I think I watched like 6 or 7 episodes back to back. We did a World Cup race in Plymouth, England. We had it, I think, 2 or 3 times we had to go over there. And if you've ever been to England, you know that the food is not really great food for athletes, especially, and it, and this is my opinion, it doesn't taste very good. So we found a fantastic Indian restaurant, and our whole team went to this Indian restaurant, and we're sitting there, and they are making some dish which required a lot of very, very spicy oil. And I remember seeing this cloud of smoke come drifting from the kitchen into the entire restaurant. And then within minutes, the entire team is coughing and we're choking, and the lungs are burning and the throat is all on fire. And we're just laughing our heads off because of this food that's being prepared. And it was amazing. And we went there 6 nights in a row. There's definitely one event, however, that has probably impacted me emotionally more than any other. And this was, again, my freshman year at Colorado College. And I had just qualified for the Collegiate National Road Championships in San Luis Obispo. We traveled out there. There was 5 guys and myself. I was the only woman that qualified that year. And we were warming up for the road race. And it's probably 5 minutes before the start, so I'm getting pretty nervous, right? This is my first, well, when you race collegiately, most of the races were maybe 5 women, 10 women, very small fields, and then you go to nationals, and all of a sudden I'm racing with 60 women, so I'm pretty scared. And the guy, Nelson Repenning, who happened to be a junior on the team, and also a Cat 1, and I also had a huge crush on him, he came up to me and he says, "I don't know how to tell you this, but you don't wear underwear under your bike shorts." I was horrified. I raced into the porta potty. I took off my underwear. I put it in my jersey pocket, and I went right to the start line. And I did the entire 60-mile road race with my underwear in my jersey pocket. That was my big life lesson. So thank you again. It's a great honor, and I'm thrilled to be here, and we've been having such a great time, and it's wonderful to see so many people here, and I've run into people I haven't seen in years. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, Alison. Just at the end of the program tonight, we'll be taking some photos with the inductees and their plaques, but also the inductees are usually gracious enough, so if you'd like to bring your program over and you want them to sign that, you can just ask them, because it wasn't that long ago that they were you. They were either, a beginning rider, and they needed some help and advice, and especially about underwear, apparently. So, so feel free to approach Alison or other inductees. And now I would like to introduce the fantastic chair of our induction committee, the local host committee for this. This thing starts months and months ago, and so the guy who puts it all together, please welcome Brody Hamilton, who has a few words to say. There he is.
All right, I want everybody to wave. Yeah. Ready? 1 over there, and 1 over there. Are you guys waving? I can't see. Good. All right, thank you. I have a really quick story. Many of you don't know that the U.S. Bicycling Hall of Fame passed a very strict drug policy last year. I think, Anthony, are you here under your guidance? Thank you very much. And which basically says if anybody admits to having used performance-enhancing drugs or has been convicted of that by a governing body, they will never be in the U.S. Bicycling Hall of Fame. So it's a rare thing when it comes to halls of fame. So I say that to preface this. When we normally don't screen the items that are going up on auction, but we noticed that there was a picture of Lance Armstrong with a little plaque under it saying 7-time winner of the Tour de France. So we had that removed. As most of you know, he was stripped of those titles. And but if any of you out there are the types that collect double-stamped coins or upside-down stamps or very unusual items for historical purposes, we could probably make arrangements for you to purchase it, but it is not out on display. I'm here to say some thank yous. The organizing committee, as Bob mentioned, starts work a good 6 or 7 months in advance of this, and the day after, it's just kind of like this incredible decompression. But I'd like to thank Bob Bowen, John Hess, Jeff Shaw, Jenna Strack, and Larry Swanson. Could you guys just stand up really quickly so people can see who put this event together? Jenna's back there, John, Larry, and Bob. And for those of you that didn't notice, that's Bob's voice on the videos up here. So Bob is a very versatile guy. Also like to thank Kate Bowen as part of Team Bowen. She's the one that has done all the decorations and spilled her wine right over here. But oh, that was Bob. Okay, nice. Go, Kate. I want to thank inductee George Mount for leading our bike ride to Winters today. George, I understand it was in record time. I also want to, Bob already mentioned that our sponsors for this evening are listed on the back of the program, so I'd like you to look at that. If you're locals, please utilize their services. And a special call out to John Yeomans with Hallmark. Each year, Hallmark Inn provides the rooms for the inductees at no charge, as well as a discount to family and friend members. So John, thank you very much. I mean, we appreciate that. It's just a wonderful thing that you do every year. Also want to thank the Davis Enterprise, especially Bruce Gallaudet. The locals know Bruce, and he has given us just some phenomenal coverage. He did individual articles on each of the inductees and also some other bits on the induction in general. And throughout the year, he's very, very supportive of the Hall of Fame and does some wonderful stories. I want to thank all of you for coming. This event would not happen year after year if you guys didn't come and support us. We have the auction out there to try to create an aspect of fundraising, but really this is kind of a break-even operation. So please, bid often, bid high. Help us out here. Also would like to thank those that have items that have donated to the live or the silent auction tonight. Amgen, B&L Bikes, Beth has donated 2 bicycles tonight. They're in the back. They're fabulous bikes. I got the one last year and have not had a flat tire since, so it's good stuff. Big O Tires, Feast It Forward, Speedy Oil Change, Steve's Pizza, Cliff Family Winery, Rocknasium, True North Rolf Integration. If you want to get realigned and really be able to take on, Ray, you're looking at me like you've obviously never been Rolf before. Yeah, okay, well, you can bid over there. And Off the Chain Bike Bus Tours, that's one of those bikes that fits, I don't know, 15 people on it. And you can either ride along and drink beer or have meetings or whatever. So that's another item you can bid on. I guess that's about it. I do want to remind you that if you didn't, there's a flyer at the front table there that has information about the online bid that goes through December 1st, which Bob already mentioned. Some really fabulous stuff. We may be adding some additional things on there. We just added a place in Hawaii just yesterday. So between now and December 1st, bids will be, you're able to bid on those items, and we may be adding some additional things. So with that, oh, this is the little handout. Was this at the front? So if this doesn't look familiar, find it around here somewhere. Good information on an online bid. Thank you all for coming. Thank you very much. We are now going to have an intermission, 20 minutes, go bid, go drink, go eat, and then we're going to come back and introduce you to the last two inductees for the evening. Thank you.
So the auction items will close at the end of intermission. So you got to get your bids in before the end of intermission. You've got 20 minutes. We'll see you in 20. Thank you. Okay, the intermission is over. Let's bring down the hats, and we're going to start the second half of the program. So please take your seats. So, auction items are now closed. You'll be able to pay for them at the end of the evening. Any of the items that didn't receive a minimum bid, you'll be able to buy them at the end of the evening for the minimum bid. So any of the items that didn't receive a bid at all, you can buy them for the minimum bid at the end of the evening. So, thanks for coming back. And right now we're going to bring the lights down, and tonight's third inductee is Janie Eickhoff.
As a freshman varsity soccer player in Long Beach, California, Janie Eickhoff suffered a knee injury that ended her soccer career. Instead of slowing down, she took up cycling. 2 years later, in 1986, Eickhoff had earned the title of National Junior Track Champion. A year later, she went on to win the match sprint and the 2,000-meter individual pursuit at the Junior World Championships in Italy. In 1989, Eickhoff was a 19-year-old student at Cal State Dominguez Hills when she was named the Women's Amateur Cyclist of the Year by the United States Cycling Federation. Janie became national champion in the kilometer time trial and was the only member of the U.S. team to earn a medal in the 1989 World Championships with the bronze in the points race. Also in 1989, while competing as a speed skater, Eickhoff won a national indoor speed skating championship. In 1990, Eickhoff switched from sprint racing to pursuit and went on to win national and Goodwill Games titles in the 3,000-meter individual pursuit and placed 8th in the World Championships that year. In 1991, she repeated as the U.S. national champion and placed 2nd at the World Championships. In 1991, Janie became the U.S. women's record holder for the kilometer time trial standing start at 1 minute 12.298 seconds. This record still stands. During her career, Janie Eickhoff won 10 U.S. national titles in pursuit, time trial, and in points racing, as well as 6 medals at UCI World Championship events. She also won 2 gold medals at the Pan American Games in the pursuit and points race in 1995. From the late 1980s and for much of the 1990s, soccer player Janie Eickhoff discovered and went on to dominate the cycling track, and she never looked back.
We call her now Janie Eickhoff Becker. Come on down. Here she is, Janie Eickhoff Becker.
Like I'd like to start out by saying thank you so much. It's really a pleasure and a deep honor to be here and to be recognized. I didn't think I was going to get all emotional all so quickly. Good thing for the waterproof mascara. So hopefully it won't be used. But anyways, I brought a tissue just in case. But it really is an honor to be recognized by my peers and see friends, and to be also honored with friends such as Alison and Andy. It really makes this a very special event for me. But along with these accomplishments, I could never have realized them without a lot of support from my family, friends, bike builders, coaching staff. I mean, there are so many people who really helped me along the way that without their support, I would not be here right now. So I'm kind of going to go back a little bit through some stories and acknowledge some of those friends who helped me get here. So I was actually a product of the 1984 Olympics. We were at the road race. We got to see, Connie Carpenter win her gold medal, and to see that, and Rebecca Twigg, American cyclists on American soil, just doing fantastic things, was just phenomenal. And my dad had actually seen some track races. I didn't see them. My dad is avid into a variety of hobbies, loves to do many things. We had actually started cycling as a family sport, and we had a family jersey. Good Lord, that was embarrassing when we rode down Highway 101 with our family jerseys on, and I was 14, and it was just, oh. I could hardly wait to get back home, needless to say. But from that, seeing the 84 Olympics, and my dad had actually found that there was some track cycling going on at the Encino Velodrome. And I thought, oh, Dad, don't spend too much money. If you can fix up my road bike, okay, but I don't know if I'm going to like this. I just don't know. So he fixed my road bike up. He was a high school woodshop teacher, so he had his afternoons off. He was very mechanical, had built race car engines, so he was very meticulous. Got my bike set up. We signed up for some classes at the Encino Velodrome, and lo and behold, I was the only girl in a class of 14, 15-year-old boys. What is not to like at that point? So I started really enjoying track cycling, and I had worked with Paul Schechter, who made those classes so much fun, and Rick Denman, who took me to my first nationals, where Montrose Cycling Club had given me $100. I thought, they expect me to win. I've got $100. Never mind that everybody who actually qualified for nationals got the same thing, but I didn't know that. And I went to my first nationals in 1985 at Indianapolis and came home with a national championship. And from then on, I thought, I wonder where I can go in this sport. I wonder what I can do. And it's an honor looking at that wonderful presentation and thinking, wow, is that really me? Because now I'm getting kids ready for soccer practice and trying to be on time to dance and gymnastics. But it was fun watching that. But also, I had the opportunity to see the World Championships in Colorado Springs, and again, seeing our athletes do so well, and I was a volunteer there. And I would have done anything, and that was a great pleasure. And Sunavar Reber had given me a Russian jersey. I was 16 years old, and I had this red Russian jersey, CCCP written on it. I was like, wow, look at that. I'm right here. This is so fantastic. So just having these opportunities was wonderful. And then qualifying for the first Junior World Championships in Bergamo, Italy, and walking away with 2 Junior World Championships. I remember I had the great pleasure of having my dad come with me, and there's no way I could be up here without the family support that I had. My dad, probably, if anybody had remembered me racing, there's my dad with his big old video camera right on his shoulder, the Mac Daddy. Now we've got our nice smartphones, but, I don't know how he or my mom put up with that thing for so long, because in track racing, you can't get around a mistake. Someone's going to catch it on film. But anyhow, so going to Junior Worlds and then later qualifying for my first World Championships in the points race in Ghent, Belgium, I felt like I was in the spin cycle in the washing machine. That was my first time going and racing on a wood track, and it was going so fast, and I was dizzy when the race was over. It's like, how, what? And then next year to actually win a medal in the points race and to be off the front with a group. And the funny thing is, to this day, I remember I was with a group off the front. Jeannie Longo and Barbara Gunt had already taken a lap, and we were going after it too. And I'm looking at the lap cards. Damn it, they didn't change the lap cards. It's like 38. It's like, you know you're on the rivet when you're convinced that they're not taking those lap cards down. But so it was. I had never been so tired in my entire life, but to come from being in the spin cycle to standing next to Jeannie Longo on the podium at the age of 19 was just something very spectacular. So let's see. And at that time, working with Anjay Beck and many of the coaches at the U.S. Cycling Federation. And I have to say one thing. When I was back at Junior Worlds and I saw how dedicated Pat McDonough was to his athletes, I knew that was the coach I wanted to work with following that. So thanking Pat for his dedication. That man worked so hard, managing the track, coaching riders, and his impact really had a big effect on my results as well. I don't know where to stop or start, but I'm just so appreciative to the people who were involved, whether it was, let's see here. I'm waiting for my husband to tell me, 5 minutes, it's up. Get out the hook, start the music. But, so anyhow, but after doing so well in the points race in Lyon, France, and then coming up to Stuttgart in 91, the year before I'd raced in Maebashi, Japan, where it was just a disaster. Coming off of the Goodwill Games with such a high and just, competing against the winner and beating Madonna Harris and then going to Worlds and getting ill and just seeing everything fall apart was just so heartbreaking that I had never trained so hard in my life in preparation for the 91 World Championships in that year. And then to come back with, a bronze in the points race and a silver in the pursuit was just fantastic. I love cycling. In track racing, there is not a bad seat in the house. It is truly a sport of excitement, and to hear Andrew, I believe, talking about the 6-day racing, and it truly is my heart. There's just, whether it's the points race, the pursuit, the sprints, I loved all the events, and I had an opportunity to do well in all events, and I don't know how God had blessed me with this talent. I really don't. But where else do we go from here? Where do I start? I guess I also wanted to say a few things, like between what Brody and George Mount had talked about the ethics of cycling, and to this day, if I happen to hear, with all the drug testing we've had to submit to this day, when I hear running water, I'm looking for a restroom. It's like, still, after how many years, my last international race was in 98, and to still think that the sound of running water makes me a little nervous. So I'm glad there's none of that in this room right now. But once again, to be up here, to have had the opportunity to kind of finish off my career in 1996 with a silver medal in the points race, and to love every minute of the sport, good and bad. I can't be more thankful and blessed to be here and to have the family that I had, my mom and my dad, my brothers, the coaches that worked with me who dedicated themselves, the friends that I've made along the way. It's so funny because I can just remember being at track events and you'd see the same French mechanic, and you just loved all these people, or you had a bad wreck. I remember having a really bad accident in Copenhagen at a World Cup. It was a Saturday night in Copenhagen. Do you think there's going to be any drugstores opened where you can buy bandages? No. And we actually didn't have our medical kit with us. Who patched me up? The Russian team. You know, so there was so much camaraderie, and that regardless if you could speak the same language, it really didn't matter. They saw a rider in need, and there were so many people who I looked forward to seeing every year. And once again, I just feel truly blessed to have found a sport like cycling, to have been able to succeed in it, and to have the support that I've had. I'm truly lucky, and it's a deep honor to be here. So thank you so much for allowing me this privilege. And if there's any possible way I can contribute to this sport, I would be more than happy to. It's my heart, and I love it to pieces. Thank you so much.
It's always great hearing the first-person stories. So we have one final inductee tonight, so we'll lower the lights, and our final inductee of the evening is Andy Taus.
Allentown, Pennsylvania resident Andy Taus began his cycling career as a racer from 1968 through 1974. As he developed an engineering career designing systems at his Trexlertown, PA office for chemical and liquid natural gas facilities, he discovered ways to stay involved in cycling, and he advised the developers of an outdoor velodrome in Trexlertown, which became the Valley Preferred Cycling Center. He started in 1970 as an amateur Bicycle League of America official, and to support bicycle racing in T-Town, he earned his Category 1 official's license in 1981. He went on to become a national cycling official in 1983, which led to becoming a Grade A International Cycling Union, UCI, commissaire in 1990. Along the way, Andy has helped develop and teach courses for UCI and event officials. Relying on his early cycling experiences, Taus organized races such as the Gotham Cup Circuit Race in Allentown, Pennsylvania from 1971 to 1998. During his officiating career, Andy has been either the president or a key member of the commissaire's panel at the world's most prestigious cycling events, such as the World Track Championships, the Olympic Games, the Pan American and Goodwill Games, and nearly all of the USA's most important bicycling events for more than 41 years. And he continues to be a technical director or promoter for bicycle races, including 10 years with the prestigious Nittany Lion Cross and other Mid-Atlantic Cyclocross Series races.
Guys are slipping and falling, getting back up on their bike, chasing back. So it makes it a lot of cat and mouse out there. It's a lot different than riding on the track, where everything's pretty much controlled.
They absolutely love it. They like this type of weather. They like the fact that it's soft, and the unfortunate part is that I think they would like it to be even softer. But
we had over 1,400 riders start today. The winner of the women's race was Gabby Day from England. That was first for international women today, and we did have around 50 international men start the race. Today, our race was in the 9th season. Next year it'll be 10 years, so we're hoping to pull it together and make a better race next year.
Andy worked at the Air Products and Chemicals World Headquarters for 37 and a half years in Trexlertown. But his dedication as a cycling official has brought him acclaim and memorable experiences while traveling around the world. With his bicycling heart and engineer's mind, Andy rose to the highest national and international level of racing officials. Andy Taus, an extraordinary contributor to the sport of cycling.
And now please welcome to the stage Andy Taus.
thanks, Bob. I got it. Being here tonight accepting this honor is truly humbling. When I first watched my first race in 1968, I had no idea, none, how it was going to affect the rest of my life. Today, being here with the rest of the inductees, the United States Bicycle Hall of Fame, and to be now included in that list is special. And truly, to be recognized by your peers is really, truly special. Much of my efforts in cycling has been on the track, but I also do organizing over my span in cycling. Like everybody else, I had mentors along the way. And I'm going to go through the list of people that have helped me. I'm sure that you don't know some of their names, but they were very important to me and had a huge influence in my life, in cycling as well as my life doing much of everything. So my first person that I'd like to honor and thank is Phil Petrick. He was my closest friend who passed and got me involved in the sport. He was my coach as a rider and a mentor as an organizer. He was also the district rep of Pennsylvania and the Amateur Bicycle League of America. He was a great rider, a great salesman, and an honestly true friend. He had a major, major influence on Bob Rodale, who then put the money up to build the Trexlertown Velodrome and donated the land as well. When I look back at those earlier years, back then there was 5,000 riders in our sport, 5,000. When you look back now, it's almost 12 times that. So the sport has grown. My next person I would like to thank, he's also passed away, is Fred Kewen, who's the owner of Cop Cycle, located in Princeton, New Jersey, on 12 John Street, which I frequently quite a bit, and that's where I purchased my first racing bike, which I ride occasionally today. Fritz encouraged me to begin organizing bike races, and he provided me with, back then, as you well know, there was no money that went out, so everything was merchandise. So many times did he supply me with prizes. Now, the next person is very, very special, and that's Robert Rodale. He donated the land and the money to build the Trexlertown Velodrome, which is now a county facility. A velodrome 7 miles from my home and minutes from my job when I was working at Air Products got me interested in track cycling. In 1978, the United States hosted the Junior World Championships, and the track was that portion in Trexlertown. And that was my first exposure to international side of track racing. Next two people I'd want to thank are Jack Symes and Dave Chauner. They were hired by Bob Rodale to run the track at that time, and they expected work, commitment, and professional demeanor. And their cycling management skills rubbed off on me. Another special thank you to Artie Greenberg, who's in the Hall of Fame, he's passed, Bill Lambert, another international cyclist, and Marilyn Allen, international commissaires, all three. Personally knowing an international commissaire inspired me to continue to the next level of cycling as an official. The next person that influenced me a lot is Ernie Siebert, who included in my race promotion the Gotham Cup at that time. We became part of the Self magazine series in 1980 and 1984. The series highlighted women's road racing in America. As a result, 2 women walked away in the LA Games, gold and silver. And that, to me, is very special, and to be part of that. Thank you to the EDS Cup series, starting in 1993. These events honed my skills as a track official. Also, the Cup pushed our track athletes to a much higher standard and propelled them to world championships and World Cup wins. That was very important at that time, and they provided the impetus to make that happen. But during that time, I developed a ranking and scoring checklist and Kieran charts for seeding the riders for the EDS series. And the Kieran seed charts were used the first time in Bordeaux, France in 1998, and now they have been accepted and are the standard in the regulations that the UCI uses. The next person I want to thank is James Broder, a computer programmer who developed a program issued for scoring and producing reports for the international cycling requirements. Working with him, he challenged me to rethink what is required in all the processes and all the different scenarios, going from qualifications through heats to the finals. This system developed and has been accepted by the UCI and is now part of the UCI Secretary Program at this time. The next person I want to thank is Fred Patton. He's the owner of Phoenix Sports Technology, who gave me the opportunities to work at a high-level event a number of times with the timing and results crew and generating starts list and results. And I had the opportunity to work for him in the World Cup in Moscow, which was truly special. This gave me a different perspective on race organization. A man that you may know and you may not know was Miram Baramia. He was the technical coordinator for the UCI, and he was the man that guided me through the UCI system. He was always getting me the assignment or the cherries assignment, and he was always there at my back. He also appointed Gunther Kuck and myself to attend the Kirin School in Sunchi, Japan. And we were there for a week, and we learned so much about Kirin racing, and we learned that Kirin racing in Japan is not Kirin racing what we see on our national level or international level. Just so you know, Kirin racing in Japan is strictly betting. It has nothing to do with sport. Believe me, and when you see they come in with a satchel of money to place the bets, you know it's not sport. When we went to Moscow to do the World Cup, and Miran found out that we were going to Moscow, he picked up the phone, called the Russian Olympic Committee. They were there to greet us and give us all the support we needed to do our job. And that was a really big help as coming into a country that you weren't sure how you were going to be accepted. In December of 2005, I was officially retired by the UCI as an international commissaire. It's 65 and you're out. I also worked as an anti-doping inspector from age 68 to 70. And when you hit 70, you're out again. Since that time, in 2005, right after that moment, I said, well, I really need to do something and continue. So I returned to organizing. So in 2006, I started going back to the track, organizing track races and cyclocross races. And I've been doing that for the past 10 years. And I actually have one more race to do on December 13th. And with the help of my partner in crime, Dave Miller, we're going to make that happen. Dave, right? When I look back and look at these people and the other people that affected my career in a positive way, allowed me to make friends and true friends around the world. And these opportunities gave me incredible experience and memories in our sport. And I really thank all of them. And best of all, very, very best of all, I have a wonderful and understanding family. With their support, that allowed me to continue to have successes. I thank my wife, Marilyn, my awesome children, Joan, Paul, Karen, and my granddaughters, Nicole and Michelle, for their support along the way. So I should share my success with them today. Without them, it would never have been possible. Thank you.
And there you have it. We're going to, at the end of this, we're going to gather everybody, the class of 2015, have some photos taken, and afterwards they'll stick around and talk to anybody and shake hands and sign autographs. The silent auction items that you bid on will be, you can settle up out here in the lobby. Those that didn't receive a bid, if you want to buy it, the minimum bid, it's yours. So, Brody, do you have any other announcements? No? We're good to go? So that completes the 2015 United States Bicycling Hall of Fame induction. Thank you all for coming. If you purchased a silent auction item, please settle up before you leave. And thanks for your support. We'll see you next year. Good night, everybody. Bye.